All right, good morning. Good morning. It is Monday, 2:55 a.m. I'm on my way to the gym. I was just thinking something. I think it's funny. I think it's funny how we could want something and see somebody else have it and assume that whatever they had to do to get to it was a simple process. Like some people probably look at me and say, getting up for him, making these videos is easy. Never giving consideration to the process, never giving consideration to day one. Then some people might look at other individuals and say, man, they have a really strong, flourishing relationship. Then others might look at certain people and say, they're financially set. And it's funny how we look at things and we assume from the outside looking in, or from the outside looking in, that there must be some type of secret formula to them achieving it. And it seems like we never consider the process that they went through or what was involved. And most of the time we never consider it because we try it. When it doesn't work day one, day two, week 3, week 4, the tendency is to quit and to go back assuming that it must just be them. See, in my business, we do these quarterly meetings where we sit down, we review anything that will help us get further in our business, and then we look at numbers. And then we get some type of award. There's some people that I see get rewarded all the time. There's some people I see get rewarded sporadically some of the time. There's some people I see that don't get any awards. Almost never. The thing that will surprise you is that the gap between the person who gets no rewards and the person who gets rewarded, it's not that big. It's not. For whatever reason, they're in their different area of life. But the gap to get from one place to the next, to get from no awards to awards, isn't that big. Well, you're probably asking yourself, well, if it's not that big of a deal, who would not want to get a reward? I don't think that's a question that you ask me. It sounds like it's a question that you ask yourself. Because what is it about the reward that's not that important that you're not pushing yourself to get there? See, what I failed to mention in the very first part of what I said, when people look at other people and assume they got it figured out, was you also have to ask yourself, is it really important to me? Me and my wife, we did the love language test. And I gotta be honest, I thought that hers would come up gifts. I really thought her test which showed that her love language was receiving gifts. It doesn't have to be a big gift, just you can give her a series of small gifts, whatever. Gifts. And I was pretty sure I knew what mine was. But I wasn't sure what my secondary love language was. When we took our test, I actually found the test again and I said, let's take it again. And we took it like a couple days later because I wanted it to be just as sporadic and spontaneous as the first one, because I wanted to really get an idea how honest it was being. We both scored the same way the second time, meaning we answered the series of questions exactly the same way we would have at any time, which means we answered honestly. I say all that to say, because of me and her conversations sometimes, I thought that her love language was gifts. But it turned out to be acts of service. Positive affirmations. Folks, understand something. Sometimes you're asking for something that your heart really doesn't care too much about. Your spirit is not tied into. It's just not you. And I know, you look at somebody who is in good shape and you say, I want that body. But you really don't want to put in the work. You like food. That's who you are. Be who you are. You see somebody is financially set, and you think that makes their life easy. So you try to imitate that. Folks, here's the problem. Let me give it to you in a nutshell. We're looking for happiness because we see people smiling. But what they're smiling about isn't necessarily going to be what makes you happy. Listen, when you've done a lot of things, you can have this conversation and say, you know what, that's just not me. I would be lying if I said being financially set was not me. Because I know what it feels like to be financially good, and I know what it feels like to not be financially good. Do I have to be super rich? I haven't had that experience, so I don't know. But do I like the flexibility to do what I want, when I want? Do I like to teach my children how to be financially responsible? Absolutely, positively, 100%. But for me to look at somebody like Ray Dalio, or the owner of Amazon, and say, I need that. Well, one is, I don't even know what it takes to have that. And if I'm obedient to what God is telling me, well, He didn't tell me to have that. He told me to have the best this. And for people who are first generation trying to get it right, you got your work cut out for you. First generation wealth building. First generation health building. First generation to teach your kids how to build. First generation entrepreneur. But it's going to really come down to stop looking at what everybody else is doing. You really got to pray. You really got to pray. Because if it's not yours, God ain't going to give you something that ain't yours. Just because you see somebody else wearing it, you see somebody else driving it, you see somebody else living in it, you see somebody else spending it, it ain't yours. And if you knew yourself and if you knew your heart well enough, you'd know it ain't yours. They got this new saying out, live your best life. I don't know what that means. But live your best life. Your best life. Not what you think. Because you don't know the price those people had to pay. You don't know they sacrifice. You don't know my sacrifice. You don't know how I had to come 360 degrees with this. You don't know what I've been through. But what I do know is we all have a purpose. What I am 100% sure of is that not all of our purposes are intended to look alike. Some people just don't care for the award. It don't motivate them. It don't move them. It's not their why. It's not their purpose. So why would they pursue something that they really don't care about? And that's all I'm simply trying to tell you. Is don't spend a whole lot of time trying to do what you think will make you happy because you see other people smiling. Because there'll be many a times where people will be getting together, having events, and you know, on the surface it looks all good, but I'm just like, you know what? Count me out. I'm good. I got, you know, I was raised as an only child, so I don't have a problem with being alone. But just because everybody else thinks it will make them happy, yeah, you can count me out on this one. Maybe next time. Because at every single chance I get, I'm going to try to do what makes me happy. Stop looking around at everybody else and sit down with yourself and pray it out and just figure it out. It's a lonely journey, but I think I'm not there. But I think, and my instincts have always been pretty correct, it may be lonely, but it's worth it. So you have to commit to what's uncomfortable versus what everyone is doing. If that makes sense.